Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old Fashioned Football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old Fashioned Football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football, a special on location at the Foundry Distilling episode with two different distillers. Miranda, we've been looking forward to this one for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, we sure have. We are at the Foundry in West Des Moines, Iowa. It was started by Scott Bush, who was the founder of Templeton Rye, which many of our listeners have probably heard of or hopefully have tried. But the Foundry has a lot of different unique offerings for a distillery, and we're going to get into more of that here in a little bit.
Yeah, very unique. We're sitting with Brian and Brandon, distillers at the Foundry. But before we get into whiskey and your guys' background, let's talk a little NFC South, because we just had a episode on the NFC South.
Yes, and Brandon, since you're a Panthers fan, we're going to pick on you a little bit here because we definitely spent some time talking about the Panthers and what their season is going to be looking like here.
We didn't say all bad things, though.
No. Well, no. So being a fan, just to get us started here, how did you feel about them trading DJ Moore along with future picks and then selecting a younger quarterback with Bryce Young?
Being a Panthers fan, I grew up in Carolina. I was born right when the team was started, so that's all I've known.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't really have anything else to go off of, but I'm just happy to see the team doing something different.
Sure.
Because for, I don't know, probably 10 years, they just off-season would go and there'd be crickets and, all right, we got the same guys. Let's do the same thing. So I don't know. Just happy to see him do something different. It sucks to see guys that you really like and have grown accustomed to seeing in black and blue for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Moore specifically, he's just a good dude around Charlotte. So a lot of stuff when I see back home is really cool to see him like in the community or whatnot, but it'll suck to see him go, but I'm glad they're doing something different, trying new things and new management, new coaching. It's a lot better than what I've been seeing.
Now, you've kind of listened to us before, so I've picked on Bryce Young a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw something yesterday on the internet that said, he's very intelligent. He's a very precise thrower. He's athletic. As long as they don't need him to change a light bulb or they lose him in the couch cushions.
Yeah.
He's a little guy.
I know. I saw that and I was like, I have to bring that up.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what he has to bring. Like you said, he's very intelligent. He's willing to work. And from all the interviews and stuff that I've seen him talking to the coaches about, like Frank Reich, he said he's very willing to learn, very willing to work as hard as anybody else in the building. I saw an article today actually that he had a chat with Tom Brady about his work ethic and just what set him apart and how he can take little like gemstones from those little conversations and apply them to his role with the Panthers now. I'm excited.
Nice.
I'm feeling a lot better than before the draft and him actually being in the building and whatnot.
Sure. And Brian, we aren't trying to leave you out. We know you're a Ravens fan, so we'll kind of touch on them, maybe come back if you guys let us for the AFC North, and we'll talk about the Ravens a little bit. But I got to keep asking about the Panthers here. Were you upset to see a player like Christian McCaffrey get traded, or was it almost a relief because of his injury history?
Yeah, I think it's kind of both honestly. been a fan of him since before he was with Carolina when he was at Stanford, and I knew that he was a special player.
Yeah.
I think everybody did, honestly. So everybody was kind of like, oh, if we get him, it's going to be bad news for everybody else. But the Panthers, when they had him, they just used him way too much. I think there was at one point midway of the season, if not last year, the year before that he was on the field for 90% of the snaps. And as good as he is, it's hard. It's hard on somebody's body to do that.
We kind of talked about this too. Like the Panthers, they rely on the run. And so they used CMC. He was their workhorse. And that kind of leads me into our next thing. We talked a lot. I think we were in agreement, correct me if I'm wrong, but from looking at the Panthers offense, I know they did acquire Bryce Young, but I think one of the biggest things that will help them this year is Miles Sanders going over to them.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about them having him?
I'm excited to see what not only Miles Sanders can do. He was so good, so reliable with the Eagles last year, and we saw where they ended up last year. Not saying that the Panthers are going to be there by any shot of the imagination, but just seeing that he's made a deep playoff run. He's been there. A lot of the guys on the Panthers team haven't even seen the playoffs.
Yeah.
So having a guy that's steady, that is a good team player, he doesn't need the ball as much, but when he does touch the ball, he's going to run. He's going to try and run through guys down their throat. But also Andy Dalton, veteran guy, maybe not the flashiest, sexiest guy on the field, but he's seen success. He's seen dismal performances by either himself or the rest of the team. But he's a good veteran guy that Bryce Young can talk to.
Yeah.
He can ask him, okay, how do you deal with this on the field? How did you handle this 3 years ago versus now? And even off-field stuff, because Andy Dalton doesn't really get in trouble off-field. So hopefully we can – I don't think Bryce Young's that kind of guy, but, you never know what a pro status can do. But
as Bears fans, we don't have much nice things to say about Andy Dalton, but that's all right.
Half the league, right? he's been around the country a little bit, but he's still a good guy.
Yeah. No, they are a young team, but you're right in the fact that they brought in Dalton, Sanders, Adam Thielen. These are guys that they have a lot of experience and should be able to help balance out that youth and help kind of guide them. And they're all good dudes too. They're all guys that I think will be good mentors to the younger guys. Last Panthers question. I know as a Bears fan, my expectations are always way higher than they ever end up being. What are your expectations for the Panthers this year?
Starting small, take care of the division. First of all, looking at the schedule, I think manageable 9 to 10 wins.
Yeah,
I think that wins the division. Honestly, 10 wins. If you get 10 wins in the NFC South, you're probably going to win the division. Right. Judging how last year Bucks won at 8-9, and the other three teams were 7-10. So, taking care of the division, trying to go 6-0 against those rivals. I think that's what everybody wants to do. But I think I saw odds makers have them at seven-ish wins on the season. So I'm going to hammer the over for sure. As with my heart and my brain, I'm going to do that.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good bet. If you think about, we just talked about the Falcons. I don't think they have a whole lot to offer aside from Bijan Robinson.
And the Bucks are going to take a huge step back.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are going to be terrible. So really, it's if they can beat the Saints.
The Saints. I have a lot of. I don't know. The Saints seem to be like. I'm not a big Saints fan. I'm not a fan of the Saints. I just like what they're doing. I like how they're shaping up. Not to go against your Panthers.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. Real quick before we continue, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors.
Have you signed up for Edge Boost yet? If not, you're missing out. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Similar to buy now, pay later programs, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest and pay back the advance over 4 equal weekly installments. That's right, 0% interest. Simply deposit funds into your account and Edge Boost will match the deposit so you use 2 times the funds on any legal sports betting site.
And Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in advances. Up to $2,500 you can add to your bankroll. My Edge Boost double down play of the day is, I'm going to go with Brandon and say Panthers over 7.5, 8, whatever it's at. Take the over. So go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 or older to use. Only valid in legal gambling states. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's talk a little bit about fantasy football because we talked with you guys before we met today, and you both have played fantasy football. So you guys can rock, paper, scissors, or however you decide who answers first. Yeah, what kind of strategies do you follow? Do you always go like running back first? Do you take the best player? Do you just wing it? How do you guys approach your drafts?
I think for me, it just depends on what the market looks like and what my pick is. If I've got like a higher pick in the first round, I'm looking at, okay, wide receiver, running back, what's the better return? Who do I think might get hurt? Who do I think might have a better supporting cast, whether it's a quarterback for a receiver or even an offensive line for a running back? Like what's the way out? So if it's, I think this year there's a couple receivers that are top 2, top 3, and the back out of the top 10 is more so running backs, but they're pretty good running backs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it just depends on where you're at in the draft order. But at the end of the day, it's kind of wherever you're at in the draft is kind of how you strategize. I don't go running back necessary, or it's just kind of how I'm placed.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh, there's no strategy.
Just wing it.
Just embrace chaos.
Embrace chaos.
Love it.
That kind of describes how some of our leagues go. They're just, it's chaos.
We have one guy in our league that never fails. He always drafts 4 quarterbacks. You can only start one.
It's not a super flex. 4 quarterbacks. It always pisses me off.
Trade bait.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
And we're doing auction too. So like I don't feel like bidding up on my backup quarterback just to get a backup because this guy's taking 4.
Right.
My question for you guys, do you have any favorite type of fantasy format or style of a league? What
is there
like
any
auction or a unique format that you've done that you really like? Or
you guys just missionary?
Is it
like it's standard?
Like, are you just doing your normal like snake drafts, no keeper leagues? Like what do you guys do, and what's your favorite format for a league?
I've always done like just vanilla snake drafts. But I'm extremely interested in kind of the new elimination style.
Yeah.
That sounds
the guillotine.
The guillotine. Thank you. Yeah, that sounds like so fun to me because it just brings like this whole new layer of strategy to it that I think would be super fun.
For sure.
I've been in probably 3 or 4 different types of leagues. I'm in my second year of going into a keepers league, so I'm learning the trade block. We've got our like rookie draft in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So looking at my roster, it's pretty bad. half of my guys are either injured reserve or just not worth anything. But then also a couple snake drafts. I think I did one that was a couple years ago. It was offensive and defensive players. And it was like a 50-round draft. It took like 4 hours. I was not.
It was like many defensive players.
Every position. Yeah.
Okay,
You could draft like 4 defensive linemen, 5 linebackers. It was, I was lost after round 12. So that is the least favorite of my favorite leagues.
We have a league we do. We've been doing it, I don't know, more than maybe 10 years. Ever since we were out of college, just with all of our college friends, and we just call it the Fun League. It's a free league, and whoever wins it gets to do whatever they want. They're the commissioner for the next year. And we've done where like you have to draft a head coach. Now that's like I know nothing about this. Like I'm not gonna. I didn't do well that year, points. Like for the head coach position. I didn't. It was just weird.
It was weird. You get points based on their win-loss record and how many offensive yards the offense has or outgains the other team, things like that.
Yeah, that one was I don't remember who was running it, and they threw that in. I'm like, really? We did, the defensive. We just did like one defensive player once. I think it would be a whole different game when you have to draft every position.
We got a guy at SGP that runs just defense leagues, no offensive players.
Whoa.
Yeah, just defense, and that's
a lot.
that's his thing. He loves just the defensive players. I prefer the offense, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any top targets this year?
Brian doesn't. He's just winging it.
He's just
Brian.
If you had a top target.
Aside from a couple Panthers guys, I try not to go too heavy on one team.
Yeah.
But I really, really am interested to see, like we were chatting about Bijan Robinson. He's either going to be very top tier or it's going to be a bust for how much everybody's on him.
Agreed.
So I saw a stat said the 6 running backs that were taken in the last 2 drafts, top 10, all 6 of them had finished in the top 15 of fantasy points, and 3 of them were in the top 5. So that's a lot on his shoulders if he can handle it. Atlanta's going to use him a lot, so he's going to get the reps, but we'll see if he can rack up the yards and whatnot. But other than that, I really like I want to see what Cooper Kupp does. I know he's high on the list, but if he can get over his injuries, I think that'll be a win if he can just start at least 15 games.
Sure.
That'll be all right.
Yeah. How about you?
So, first off, I do not buy the Bijan Robinson hype. I'm just going to throw that out there. If you guys can all make fun of me at the end of the season if I'm wrong, I think he's going to be good.
We got into it earlier.
I can't put him in like a top 5.
No, I think like especially in auction. So he's valued at $43 right now.
Of a $200 budget.
Of a $200 budget. And I absolutely I know you said that, but I absolutely see people spending that or more on him. Absolutely, like he's way hyped up. He is going to go. So it's a matter of, are you going to spend that kind of money in an auction league on him, or are you going to let somebody else have him and see how he turns out? But
you were on the fence.
I was on the fence.
I'm a no.
It's the Falcons though. Like I don't know.
They're going to run the ball a lot, but they got Tyler Allgaier, Cordell Patterson, Caleb Huntley, and Bijan.
So it's going to be
Allgaier and Huntley are young guys. They're still going to get carries. And if I'm a defensive team or a defensive coach, I'm loading that box and making Desmond Ridder beat me, right? Because I don't have much faith in Desmond Ridder personally. So I think that's going to affect their run game because you don't have to account for the pass that much. But that's just my thoughts.
And if they, with having that many running backs we see so many teams doing this shared running backs or they're sharing time. So I wonder how much, that's where I'm hesitant with him is how much time on the field is he going to have to share with the other running backs on the team.
Falcons are probably one of the worst teams he could have landed on fantasy football wise. I just feel like
I don't know, but I'm excited about him. But it's like I'm on the fence. So that's
all right. So not Bijan. Who do you like? Besides Lamar,
I do like Lamar. I'm super high on Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
That's if there's one guy that I feel like I have to have on my team, it's probably him.
Would you draft him with the first pick? Not to put you on the spot.
Oof. First overall?
Yeah.
Oof, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I've seen him go first overall in some drafts, and I think
he finished. He was first. Finished first.
And once you get the separation between those top wide receivers to the other guys, I think he might be worth it. Especially like you said, more running backs are kind of hitting this committee approach. So I'm a big fan of Jefferson, even though he's on the Vikings. Still,
I don't think it's a bad first pick overall.
No,
I don't.
All right, we gotta do one more shout out to our sponsors. Shady Rays is teaming up with the SGPN for Shady May. Not only do you get an amazing 50% off, but you also have a chance to win $500. Shady Rays has you covered from the sun to the slopes, premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. Shady Rays have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. That's right. say you're down at the Foundry, been drinking a little too much, and you're getting in an argument over Bijan Robinson and whether he's going to be a top back or not. Somebody decks you right in the face because they also had too much whiskey. No questions asked. They're going to replace your sunglasses for free. If you don't love them, exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back.
And for our international listeners, Shady Rays has you covered as well, with shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. Go to shadyrays.com and use promo code SGPN for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. And remember, May is almost over, so make sure you take your receipt to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win the $500 Shady May contest.
All right, enough of the football. Let's talk about some whiskey. But
Yes,
before we get into the
we're here.
before we get into the Foundry, which we'll kind of get into, it's very unique as far as the options that you guys have. But before that, can each of you give a little bit of background on how you got into distilling whiskey?
Yeah, so I was a brewer for 5 years before I got into distilling. I've been here for about a year and a half now. Basically got into the industry after college. I was actually bartending at a brew pub.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a full-time job in the brewery. Just kind of the rest is history from there.
And I think I read on your guys' website that you were going to be going to law school, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did contemplate law school. Yeah, I had a letter of intent, all that, and
Yeah.
just one day it was time to either pack my bags or brew beer, and
Beer one.
beer won. Beer won the day.
How about you, Brandon?
I am not as quite exciting as Brian's story. I've kind of jumped around in my life the past few years. I traveled and did hospitality with NASCAR for a couple of years. The pandemic hit. My now wife and I have a 2.5-year-old son. I moved to Iowa and I worked in a furniture store for a couple of years, and then I didn't want to do that anymore. So I found Brian and the guys here at Foundry, and they welcomed me, and now I'm honestly just learning every day.
Yeah.
The art of distilling, just the industry of everything about this. I take care of people. So I come from hospitality, Chick-fil-A, my pleasure, all that good stuff. So I know how to take care of people. It's now just, fulfilling the whiskey need, fulfilling the fun aspect about it.
Yeah, it seems like a kind of a preconceived notion. People think that you have to go to school for distilling or you have to be like a major science brain or something. And the more we're talking to, that's not the case. You know, you don't have to have any background in whiskey really to be able to get in and be, as long as you're willing to learn it and work with it. We talked last week. We talked with Victoria Edie Butler, and now granted, she said that whiskey blending and distilling is in her blood because she's from generations of it, but she had just retired from a government job and then just kind of jumped into it. So all sorts of backgrounds. I find that fascinating because I feel like a lot of our listeners have even said, like, how do I get on the path to distilling? You know, how do I do that? Because they think they do have to go to school or whatever. And most of the answers we hear is just go to a distillery and see what you can do to get your foot in the door, basically.
Yeah. If somebody sees you, if they see you enough, they'll, okay, what do you want to do here?
Can you tell us a little bit about the Foundry and just kind of a breakdown and what makes it so unique compared to other distilleries?
Yeah, so we started in 2018. We were founded by Scott Bush, the original founder of Templeton Rye, as you already discussed. There's a lot of things that make us unique. We are an industry leader in our totally customizable spirits. We offer more customization than you'll probably see anywhere else in the country. We've done hundreds of these private barrels, and we always say it's complete customization from grain to glass. And that's your whiskey. We just get a little sticker on the back, you know?
Yeah, and there's a lot of customization, like Brian said. Like there was one group that we did a project for, and they literally took their like square footage of a building that they had just constructed. They're a construction company. They took their square footage and split it up, 60% this, 14% that. So some people are just as wild as, okay, we'll take these numbers and we'll throw them at, corn, wheat, and all that stuff. Or other people will take just, okay, I like X whiskey. Can you make that for me? And then me and my wife, we were married in 1995. Can you make it a 95 proof? Like, there's a lot of different things. You can either have it at cask strength. You can choose whatever proof. Like, we'll bring in, we'll sample the barrel as it's going, and just kind of you're along for the ride, just like we are. But then also on the flip side, we have another program. So if you don't want to wait a year and a half, 2 years, we've got 5 or 6 house blends that are ready to go. You can tell us, okay, I like a bourbon. So, okay, we've got a bourbon perfect for you. Try it, make sure it's cool. And if you give us the label and you choose the bottle, you choose the color of the cork, you choose even the heat shrink enclosure. So everything, like literally
Yes.
all the way down to the plastic heat shrink enclosure, you choose it. And you can have your product up to 200 bottles in 90 days. So there's 2 different paths that you can go down depending on what time structure you're on, or just whatever you want to do, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that we were going to bring up, the 2 different paths, one being the private barrel or the estate legacy.
Is that what the other option is?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the things I wanted to ask is, do you work a lot with Scott Bush?
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah. What's it like working with him, or what is his role around the foundry?
So he is the owner, CEO, like
Mhm.
he is ultimately the head. We've got I don't know if you guys will have a picture or video of it, but our floor of the distillery is open, very open. And we've got an up top area that's basically Scott's office, and it's glass walls around in the center of the floor, on like a second story. So he can see if he wants to look out. Yeah, he sent us text messages. Okay, does it take 3 guys to blend to get some proof down? But not, like, ultimately, he wants everybody to succeed. He wants the company to do well. So he can check in with us. He doesn't hound us mostly about little things. He kind of lets us handle most of our own stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a fun and cool place to work. You're dealing with whiskey and spirits.
Yes.
There's a lot worse places to be.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot worse people to be around. So
yeah. All right. So we walk in here and we saw this giant still, and I know we talked about it last time we were here. Can you talk a little bit about it? I mean, because it's really cool looking.
Beautiful still.
Yeah, and it's huge. And we're gonna throw a photo up on Twitter and on YouTube of it before we take one before we leave. Don't forget.
That's my job. I'm on.
But yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? And because it's pretty unique, right?
Yeah, so that's our 30-foot, 21 tray column still. That's one of the largest operating craft column stills in the country.
Wow.
Yeah, so basically, to kind of describe to you what column distillation is, I mean, everyone kind of has this idea of distillation with, a pot still. It's got like the little crooked arm, and you just collect a bunch of booze in a vat, and then you do that over and over and over again. So that's kind of like what we call batch distillation. Okay. So the difference with where the column still comes in is it's called continuous distillation. So we're constantly feeding 4.5 to 5.5, somewhere in there, gallons per minute of wash into this column. And we're constantly pulling that distillate off the top.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. It is really cool looking. So obviously, if you're in around Iowa, make sure you come check it out because it is really neat.
And do you guys offer regular tours for anyone who comes here, or how does?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to our website, you can book a Distillers tour with us, which is super fun. Basically, we just walk around the distillery and tell you what you see, and then feed you some free booze.
Yes. So Brandon gave us a a tour the first time we were here. Was that the official tour, or is it more? I don't know. Is there a more official, or did we get the official tour?
That's pretty much the official tour.
That's the official tour. We
each
got it.
one of us.
It was a good tour. I'm not saying it wasn't a good tour.
Each one of us kind of gives a different kind of
Mhm.
tour because we're all kind of different what we pick up on specifically.
Mhm.
So I might hone in on some of the architecture of our building, but also a specific part of like our spirit safe,
Yeah.
where Brian will get more of like the scientific column still explanation. I know he didn't go to school for science, but like he's got the brain for it. So he's very, very precise when it comes to the science of everything. And one of our other guys, honestly, every station he'll just give you a sample. So so depending on what, you'll get a good experience just
Yes.
depending on which one you get with us. Oh yeah.
So come here 3 times.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Get
You'll
used
get a different but fun experience. Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome.
Hopefully the information matches up.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. 2 + 2 is 5.
Yeah, you talked about the architecture. This was an old train station, or did they work on the trains here?
Like a train
Depot.
yard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we've got 5 big garage doors on either side of our building. We share the constructive building
Mhm.
with like it's called the hall. It's like a dinner spot. They got like tap room, kind of cool feel. But we've got a big glass wall that divides us. So you can see in either side. But the distillery side, we've got 5 big garage doors. That's where they would pull the trains in. Then they'd work on them. And there's a big turntable in the middle. It's over on the hall side in the dinner spot. And they've actually still got a glass floor where you can see the train tracks that they
Cool.
actually used to spin the trains around, shoot them out the other side.
Nice.
So it's an old building, I think late 1800s.
Mhm.
So the room that we're sitting in, actually, we call it our speakeasy. We set up a bar, a really cool, like intimate spot. But there's areas on the wall where you can see, like this used to be the furnace room. So you can see like soot and where, like, honestly, behind me and Brian, behind the TV, there's like a darkened spot of the brick where there was what we suspect a fire some time ago. So a lot of character, a lot of stories. If we could get them out of the walls, it'd be awesome to hear.
For sure. Yeah, we'll post some photos on Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it is very
For
unique.
sure.
So I got to ask, you guys offer basically, it's the most customizable experience I have heard of anyways. What's the most unique request or strange request that you've had from somebody?
Man, that's kind of tough. I would probably, one comes to mind. It was a cinnamon and pineapple tequila.
Oh, wow. That's
I
different.
don't know how I feel about that.
That one was certainly interesting. That one was maybe a touch outside of our wheelhouse,
Yeah.
admittedly, but I think we nailed it.
I was gonna say, how did it turn out? Are you a tequila guy?
I am.
Okay.
I like all spirits. You know, they can all be done well. And,
Yeah.
no, that one, honestly, it probably wouldn't be what I would choose personally, but no, I thought it was great.
Yeah, because you guys do not just whiskey, but vodka, tequila. Is there any others? Do you do rum or gin or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, basically,
Okay.
if you can distill it, we can make it.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, and we've got like a normal like botanical gin,
Mhm.
but a lot of times if people come in here and we're like, hey, try our gin, they're like, I'm not really a gin person.
Sure.
We've got a barrel aged gin that'll knock socks off. So
Really?
if you're not a gin person, don't say you're not a gin person until you try our barrel aged gin, because we do our normal gin, but then we finish it off in a whiskey barrel.
That sounds amazing.
So it
Yeah,
gives
it
off
does.
more whiskey vibes than gin, but it's very good. Very good.
You would like that because
Yeah,
you like gin and
like-
whiskey.
I do.
We can try it here at the end too.
All
So
right.
we've got a bottle.
That is awesome. So one other thing I wanted to bring up is another unique thing about the Foundry is your collaborations, specifically with the Brewer Distiller Alliance. So did I say that right? Brewer Distiller Alliance.
Yep.
How did that all start?
So, what a lot of people don't really understand is to make whiskey, you basically start by making beer. So it was just kind of this natural partnership that for some reason no one was really doing yet. And Scott really had this great idea. That's kind of one of the first things he really wanted to focus on when he got here. And the first partner we had was actually Stone Brewing in San Diego. And basically he called them up, got on a plane, had a meeting with them, and they were just like, yeah, we're in.
Nice.
And from there it's blossomed into, I mean, we've worked with something like 20 breweries.
Wow.
So all kinds of smaller local ones around Des Moines and Iowa. We've worked with like Confluence and Exile.
Mm-hmm.
Not that those are small breweries. Barntown. I can't even remember all of them. The list goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've worked with, nationally known breweries like Surly, Boulevard, Left Hand. So
Nice. What are some of your current brewer collab whiskeys that are available right now?
So right now we have available the Surly Axeman that's made from Axeman IPA. We have the 6 Glass that's made from Boulevard's Belgian Quad.
Okay.
And then honestly, one of my favorites that we have currently available is the Stone Imperial Whiskey. That's a cask strength whiskey made from Stone Imperial Stout.
Ooh, I bet that would be good.
That does sound
That's
good.
awesome.
Like it would be really good. Do you have any set to be released in the near future that you can talk about? Or any that you're working on if you can't talk about it?
Yeah, if you can't disclose, that's fine too.
But is there more coming?
Yes. There is a very popular iteration that we are actually going to do our first bottled and bond Brewer Distiller Alliance whiskey. That will be coming out by the end of the year, but I think for now we'll just kind of
it's on the down low.
we'll keep that one just a little bit of a secret.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I love bottled and bond
I know you
whiskey,
do.
so absolutely excited about that. Kind of backing from the foundry to back to you guys. What do you guys enjoy about distilling and working at the distillery?
I think just being able to learn a craft and hone in on a craft, whether it's, getting temperature and pressure on the column still right and letting that run for, the 16, 20 hours that it needs to for a full batch, or it's figuring out, somebody, the proofs that some people would like to try their different barrels at. So, walking somebody from, okay, cask strength, they're at 125 proof. Here's what it would taste like at 100, 95, 90, 85, 80. And there's different flavors and finishes that come off depending on where you're at walking down. So just seeing where those flavors and finishes and even aromas, some aromas will hit you at 100 that won't be there at 80 and vice versa. So just seeing the art and the creativity that you have, the freedom within just a glass of whiskey to somebody, but there's a lot of freedom to somebody that's like us that has that honestly can work it out, can get it to where it needs to be and present it to somebody. And that's the greatest gift that they got.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was never meant for an office.
Right.
I figured out pretty early that wasn't really my cup of tea. I like being able to be active. I like being on the floor. I like working with my hands, and every day is like a little challenge. Like there's always something new. Like as soon as you think you've seen it all, you get hit with something new. It's just like, okay, now a new problem to solve. How are we going to get past this one? And then just there's something really special about really being able to see this product that brings people such joy and happiness, like taking that from conception to end. It's just really a cool feeling.
Yeah. Cool. So what's the favorite whiskey that you've made here? Because you get to try everybody's requests as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's the favorite thing that you've worked on or gotten to try?
Might have to go back to that Stone Imperial whiskey.
Really?
Honestly, I think that's one of the best products we've ever made.
Nice.
That product is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like our 99% corn bourbon. We've got a 10-year bottle.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world is going on my watch? That was crazy. It was dinging like crazy. I don't know. Oh, sorry guys.
Good.
But we've got a 99 corn 10-year aged bottle, group of bottles that's on our shelf for display and retail. But I just love how sweet it comes across.
Mm-hmm.
You can sip it straight. You can sip it on rocks. Put it in a Coke. It's a very versatile whiskey or bourbon. It's very nice. It's my favorite.
Nice.
I did think of one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, us being old-fashioned football, you guys have an old-fashioned on tap. And that I think has to be one of the first. I've tried a Manhattan on tap before, so yours is the first old-fashioned on tap, and it's really good. But it made me wonder, like, what goes into like making one of those ready-to-drink drinks and having it on tap. Like, what is that process for you guys?
Yeah, so I mean that's definitely kind of a new. I guess I don't know how new it is, but it's definitely becoming a much more trendy thing to have like these batched cocktails on draft. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's still a handmade cocktail. It was just handmade 50 at a time before anybody got there, right? I mean, there's a little bit of a difference. You know, it took us a couple of tries to kind of figure out how the recipe would play if it was sitting in that keg. It took us a couple of tries to figure out how to like dial in the gas so that we weren't accidentally carbonating the beverage, things like that.
Yes.
But you know, at the end of the day, it's an old fashioned.
Yeah.
So
Does it change over time as like you
Sits and
as it
marinates.
sits? Like, yeah, do you find that it
I don't know. They
changes
never
or-
sit that long.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Those are all pretty easily.
Nice. Well, should we do some whiskey tasting? You got whiskey. You're teasing us in front here.
Oh yeah. So usually if we bring a client in, we'll have like our private barrel club. That's what we have, our 90-day quote unquote kind of ready to go options. So we blindly label them. Us here at the distillery, us working, we know 1, 2, 3, so on. But we present them to our clients blind, so that way if somebody's okay, I don't like rye. Okay, we haven't tried this. You don't know what it is, but if it's your favorite, you're a rye person now.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yes,
So
you are.
just kind of unbiased opinion of people coming in.
Okay.
So 1 through 5, both of y'all choose a number. We'll choose a number, and then we'll try those.
4.
I already knew you were going to take
4.
4.
Okay. Brian, you got a number?
I mean, I know what they are.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, Justin, you choose another number. Yeah. So we
I'll
got
do
4,
2.
4 and 2.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
Deal.
what I was gonna pick anyway.
Yeah.
I believe that's what DJ Moore is wearing with the Bears, and that's his number. So that's why I picked 2, since Brandon's team gave us DJ Moore.
Oh my goodness. Rubbing it in more.
Yeah.
So we got number 4 first.
What do you smell?
Whiskey. That's always
And
my answer for
to-
whiskey.
I learned this from Brian, but to get the proper aroma
Mhm.
of a whiskey, a lot of like wines will swirl and whatnot. You don't really need that for whiskey, but
Sure.
when you're like smelling it, have a little like your mouth open so that way it can
Yeah.
go in your nostrils, and a lot of that alcohol, like that stronger stuff that'll like burn your nose hairs, it has a way to get out. So that way you really get the meat of the smell, the scent, the aroma to come through.
It's interesting because we just learned that last week, and I never
I've
knew that.
never-
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint what that is. No smelling. It's really good.
You have a better nose than I do.
Mhm.
So.
It's allergy season.
Oh,
I'm very stepped up.
We do a team tasting every other week,
Mhm.
and like we'll invite some people in sometimes. Some people will be like, hey, I want to do that. A couple weeks ago, I had allergies hit me in the face, and I was talking like this. Like, it was bad. It was so bad. So Brian was doing his normal thing, finding the scent, finding the aroma, really diving in, doing the Lord's work on it. And I'm just like, I don't have that available right now. I feel so bad right now. It's so bad.
There's something like almost sweet, but yet
Oaky.
oaky. Yeah,
That's what I get.
Oaky.
Oaky.
it's like a sweet wood smell.
I always say we're not whiskey sommeliers, so sometimes I'll like pick out a flavor or scent, and she looks at me like, no. But I do think everybody probably
everyone kind of tastes things
probably
differently
picks
too.
up different stuff. We were drinking one a couple of weeks ago, and I said it's like if it was a warm melted Milky Way. That's the thing that just kept coming to my head, and she's like, "What? No."
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, like a little bit of that caramel, a little bit
Yeah.
of nougat almost in,
Yeah.
in whatever you were having. Yeah.
Yeah. So do we get to know our options of what's what?
Hold
before I
on.
guess?
No, wait. No. Is this a higher proof?
This one actually is a little higher proof.
Okay, I could tell.
You could.
Can tell that. It's really warming. There's a little bit of burn right away. Just right. Maybe
So
I
think-
also am
think they're gonna
sunburnt,
burn.
really sunburnt from this weekend on my face. So maybe my lips are just a little. But no, it feels a little burn right away. I think my lips might be.
I don't get any, but you tend to get more of that sometimes. Than I do. See, I thought it was pretty smooth though.
Mhm.
It's very smooth.
I'm holding it in my mouth to try to see.
What you taste.
Mhm. There's a sweetness there. I don't know. I always find sweetness in whiskeys. But I can't tell what it is though. I can't tell.
Yeah. Do we get our 5 options and we guess?
This
from
is
them, or-
I'm gonna say this is not a rye.
You are correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a rye.
And the 5 options are different styles of whiskeys, right?
Yes.
Is that okay? See, it's really hard.
It's not a
until-
bourbon.
No, I was thinking.
Is it a
was-
bourbon? It's a bourbon.
Uh-oh. It does have the oakiness that you get.
I
from a
guess it
bourbon, and-
does.
Yeah. But you
So
said
then
it's a
is
little higher
that-
proof.
Is that grain then? Is that corn?
It is. A lot of it, actually.
Okay. I think that's what I'm smelling.
Corn?
Yeah, I am.
Did you do your 3 tastes?
I did.
Okay. She does the 3 taste rule. 'Cause-
Because you
Gotta
taste
have-
it more. Your first taste, it's like everything hits you. You have to have a second taste, and then by the third, you're really for
you're
me.
used to it.
Yeah.
Then you can taste everything.
Mhm. That's how I do.
So
it.
do you want the big reveal then?
Yes, what's
Yeah.
the big reveal?
So that is our 5-year 99% corn whiskey.
Okay. That's one you were saying you really like, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we call our classic American bourbon.
Okay.
Classic
So-
American bourbon.
So yeah, definitely going to get a little bit of sweetness from that corn.
Mhm.
That's that high corn coming through. Nice smooth oak. Yeah, that's just like a real easy sipper.
Yeah. for
Nice
sure.
vanilla finish.
Yeah,
Super
it's
smooth. It
very
is a little bit higher. It is actually one of
is.
the higher proofs that we do.
Mhm.
That's 91 proof.
91.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's very smooth. Very smooth. I like that too. It's
Mhm.
good. This is number 2, right?
Correct.
All right.
Is this darker? Is it darker? I like the color.
I don't know. My other one's gone.
I know. Can't compare.
It's darker now.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's got a rich, sweet smell.
it does. It has a. Okay, I have to do the trick.
We joke around like when we do these pods, we edit all the tasting like pauses out because you're just sitting there with like dead air, sniffing and tasting.
All you hear in the background is just
Creepy breathing.
There was one I did on my own because you were really sick and I didn't
Mhm.
have anybody to fill in. And I'm sitting there like tasting it. And so it's like, so what I smell is, and then I describe, and then I'm tasting. I'm like, sorry for the long, awkward pause, but Miranda's not here to talk while I'm drinking this.
No filibustering.
Right. It's completely different,
Mm-hmm.
but also very good.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about our options. They're all very different, but they're all delicious.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna get like, you might get little hints of like, ooh, this kind of has a little bit of what number 4 had, but it turns on you and it takes you down another
Mhm.
road. So
Yeah.
like there's nothing duplicate
Yeah.
about what we do.
Is this the rye?
I would
No.
No.
but it's finished in something. Is it
You think
finished
it's-
in something?
This also
No.
no. Some sort of experts we are.
Hey, we just we're not experts.
We just
We
drink
just
it.
love to drink and try.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on then.
You know,
Gosh,
it's
I thought
cool
for
about
sure-
even when we get people in here, I think they're almost surprised at how different
Mm-hmm.
the 5 offerings can be.
Mhm.
Because, people kind of think like, well, how different can whiskey be? It's like, well, try these 5 very different
Yeah.
ones back to back and you'll find out.
Yeah. This is night and day different.
Mm-hmm.
In flavor for sure.
What are you tasting?
It's I don't know if thick is the right word, but it's got more.
There's a lot of flavor right away.
There's
Like I
more
don't know how to
texture.
explain it.
Yeah.
The flavor.
We say body.
Body. There you go.
There you
Yeah.
go.
It's a
And
full
say
body.
a liquid is not thick necessarily. It's not like
Full-bodied
it's syrup,
whiskey.
but yeah.
There's not a bad way to describe it. There's just like the pretty label version of how you
Yes.
describe it.
Right. Yeah.
The romance language.
Yes.
People don't like to hear that their whiskey is thick.
You got any guesses?
No.
No.
I would have thought that it's okay. So what am I tasting? I can't figure out what I'm tasting.
So I just have to relate it to other things I've drank. For whatever reason, it drinks similar to a wheated bourbon to me. Is that?
Wow.
Heck
He's close.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes like a wheated bourbon. Is that? Are you getting that now?
When you say it,
Yeah, I know.
it's
The
that's
power
why
of suggestion.
I know it is there. It's there because that's why I like the blind tastings.
Yeah.
And it's like you just have to. We need to do those more.
We should. Yeah.
We're always prepared, like with what we should taste.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always taste what we should taste, but
Yeah.
it influences you.
Yeah. When you read, oh, the flavor
should get-
profile is
Yeah.
this. It's like, oh yeah, I do get that because you just read that you get that. You know, like,
Are you ready for the reveal on this one?
Yeah.
it's not a wheated bourbon though.
Well, we kind of set you up for failure on this one.
That's fair.
This one's pretty tough.
Yeah.
You were right on with the wheat though.
Yeah.
This is malted barley and wheat.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's not a wheated bourbon because obviously
Yeah.
there's no corn.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
Nice.
is a pretty unique one out there. Definitely like a nice nose of
yeah.
like banana bread and clove.
Yes.
It's gonna have like a nice flavor of caramel, like almost like vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
I think because of the flavor, like as I was almost second guessing when you said rye. I'm glad because I didn't want to say rye and be wrong because I really like rye. But I think because of the flavor,
Well, now that you say
There.
banana, that's all I smell. It's
And-
like banana bread.
kind of
Power of
the
suggestion.
clove
Right?
and-
Yeah. That's all I get from it now, though. Smell it again.
I know. That
You get
is.
it? Okay.
That's all I smell. It's way
Malted-
sweeter smelling too.
Malted barley,
Barley.
and wheat.
Yep.
Wow. That's really good.
That is really good.
I don't know if I've had something that's malted barley whiskey, but that's a really unique flavor profile.
Very unique. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
We're very unique. And since you guys have been awesome to us, we're gonna sample some of our barrel aged gin.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So we'll get some of that rocking.
Yes.
This one's the gin.
Yeah.
Yes, this is our barrel
I can
aged
guess
gin.
this.
So it's used after a full whiskey has been aged and harvested.
Do you guys pick a specific whiskey for or a specific whiskey barrel, or is it just any that are available?
It depends. Yeah, it just depends. Honestly, it depends on either what we have available or if, say, you guys wanted to do your own barrel and you wanted to age it out for the 1.5 2 years, whatever. But then whatever your mash was at the end, you said, okay, we want to do a gin as like a second fill. So we'd give you 10% off of what your original barrel was, and then we'd refill it with our house gin and age it probably 4 to 6 months, depending on how it goes and all that. So Yeah, it just
That's
depends.
really cool.
Yeah.
Like you could, do your whiskey, create it,
And then this
And
is
then
my
turn
gin
around
from that
and-
whiskey.
Yep.
age a different
Yeah.
spirit in it. Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
So say you guys did a wheated barley,
Mhm.
and so you guys did that, and it's got a completely different mash bill than say a 99 corn.
Yeah.
So you get a different flavor profile on the back end of the aging or like the finished off gin than the next person. So it's really cool. It's a fluctuating taste or
Yeah.
whatnot, but it's still money
Mhm.
almost.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, it is good.
Our friend Haley would really like this because she really likes gin. She's
Mhm.
trying to like whiskey because her husband's a big
This
whiskey.
could be her.
This
her
could be the-
stepping stone
right.
to whiskey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gin gets such a bad rap. There's a lot of people who had some terrible bottom shelf London
Right.
dry gin
Yeah.
20 years ago and just assume that that's all the gin was.
Mhm.
But there's kind of been a resurgence of gin in the,
Yeah.
especially in the American market.
Mhm.
With American distillers have kind of taken a little bit of a different approach. It's been a little bit more neutral, so it's not like sucking on a pine cone that you
Yes.
might be
Pine
used
cone.
to. A little bit more citrus balance, not quite as strong of a flavor. And then you take our barrel aged gin, so like that dry gin, like almost coughing after effect. Our barrel. The barrel aging really kind of like softens that, gives it like a nice vanilla flavor. So it's just really kind of a smooth,
Yeah.
delicate finish.
I don't ever just sip on gin, but this is
You could
like
sip on
it's
this.
soft. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's soft. It would be
I actually use this in my old fashions.
really.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I just sub bourbon. Or I sub out the bourbon for the barrel aged gin.
That would
sometimes.
be interesting. to
Yeah.
try.
I feel like because the gin, I know it's not a sweetness, but it's got a little bit more sweetness to it. You wouldn't need like sugar or simple syrup or however you make your old fashions. You wouldn't necessarily need that. I feel like you could just use this in its place because it's got that sweetness to it.
No, this is good.
This is only the second gin I have liked, for the record. Not a big gin guy, but I do like this.
What was the
Second-
first?
The first one was Grace O'Malley's.
Oh,
Have you guys
that's-
had that
Oh,
from
there you go.
Ireland?
That I mean, that's good, but it's very junipery.
Yes, it is very
Very
junipery.
junipery.
Yeah, yeah.
We did we just started a new batch of gin last week, and getting all of the botanicals just mixed and all that stuff. I used a blender to mix up the seeds and whatnot, and
Mhm.
just the aroma that filled the whole distillery for about 3 hours was
Okay.
everybody that walked in there like, holy shit, what are you guys making back here? This is awesome.
Right?
So yeah, it was awesome. I think we used about 18 pounds of fresh botanicals across the
Wow.
board. Yeah.
So
So
I was purposely not here that day. I skipped out the go golfing.
yeah.
So these five, if somebody does the legacy, right? The estate legacy options, they can choose from these five. Is that correct?
No, that's the private.
That's the private.
So yeah,
Right.
our legacy program is the program where you build the mash bill,
Okay.
you watch the barrel.
Everything.
Yeah, you
Got it.
you let it age the 2 years or however,
Okay.
and we'll invite you in. We'll sample. Once it hits that 1 year, 1.5,
Mhm.
we'll start sampling pretty regularly.
Okay.
So some people might be ready to pull and bottle at 1.5 years. Somebody, depending on the mash bill and how the oak and everything mixes,
Mhm.
it'll be ready to pull at 2 years or whatever you feel is necessary.
Do you
But
have
then-
people go longer than 2 years?
yeah, we've had somebody go 3.
Three.
Honestly, pretty recently. We just harvested one that was from 4 years ago, honestly.
Okay.
So it just depends on what you want.
Yeah.
So it's customizable all the way down to how long it takes. So if you got time and you want to let it go, let's roll. Yeah,
Now-
let's go.
When you go 4 years, do they lose some for the angel share, or does it not make much of a difference in the bottles?
I mean, you will lose some.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unavoidable.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it really comes down to what's the spirit you want,
Mhm.
and especially with something like this, it's already so unique.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. don't sacrifice don't sacrifice taste for a few bottles.
Right.
That's what I always tell people.
Yeah, no, agreed. So I had them mix up the private, and people can go to your website and order a sample pack of these, correct?
Yep. If you go to myprivatebarrel.com, it will show you some of our favorite labels, kind of give you an idea so you can kind of visualize it. And you can order samples right from that website. We'll ship the samples to you. They come with instructions, what to do next. And yeah, it's just a great experience to have like a group of people get together, pick your favorite whiskey, and let's roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, I know we're talking with Sean right now with the network, trying to get something rolling for, before football season starts. And even though it's a couple of months away, now's the time to start working. So we're trying to work on getting whatever they decide. They're going through this process right now. So by the end of the week, he'll get me what blend they want to go, and then we'll work on the label, make sure it's approved. It's got all the warning, like the government label, and just make sure everything's approved. And then once we get that label printed, we're bottling and product in hand, and everybody's enjoying what they got.
Yeah, so listeners, make sure you bug Sean about you want some SGP whiskey now.
Yeah. Yep.
I told him, I said, if you need to send me down for samples, I'm right there. I can go do it.
Oh yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
Right.
Oh yeah. There's a limited run, so make sure when it's available you get on it.
Right. So when they order the samples, I was kind of playing around with it online, looking. The photo shows the bottles they come in, I believe, but what size are those? I couldn't tell online.
All of our bottles, no matter what the design of the bottle, 750 milliliters.
Okay.
So your standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got what we call a Capone bottle. It's what imagine like a mobster bottle. It's super curvy, super sexy. Then we've got like a herbalist. Think of like the medicine type bottles, like the fat stout, super cool. But then we've also got like moonshiners. They've got like they look honestly like a pot still, and then they've got the little handle on the side. So just 5 different selections depending on what's visually appealing to you and your brand.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think this is super unique.
It is very unique. And someday, I feel like we have to do a private barrel.
Oh, for sure.
Someday.
We talked about starting a little fundraiser with our listeners, seeing if
do a
anybody can help
giveaway.
us out. And we'll do give away some bottles of it and whatnot. But yeah, it's super unique. I was even thinking of you've listened to the College Experience, right?
Yep.
So Colby and his brother Nick, they need some Dant Brothers whiskey, I feel like.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That would be right up their alley.
Yeah.
Colby likes whiskey. Nick really likes whiskey, so that would be perfect for him.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to get in their ear
You're
about
gonna have
that.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done everything from construction companies around town to wedding gifts, and just a bunch of dudes that want to have their picture on a bottle, and they just pull together some money and they get their stuff in order, and they do it. So just anybody that wants to be a part of this can be, as long as
I think that
as long as they work with us.
that is such like a unique thing about the Foundry.
Yeah.
That anybody can come in and either do the private barrel, do a legacy. Like that's really neat.
Maybe you guys know or don't know, but I've not heard of any other distillery offering that option. So that's very neat to me.
Yeah, if you type in custom whiskey, a lot of times you're just going to get, okay, here's our template. Basically, you get your name on a bottle.
Right.
How cool is that? And then you come here and it's like, oh, I get to have control of everything?
Yeah.
Sick. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just a marketing gimmick for us. You go to random Kentucky bourbon and get your private barrel.
Yeah.
It's still their bourbon, and you get a little sticker on the label.
Right.
if you work with us, it's your product.
Mhm.
We get to put our label on the back in a tiny 10-point font, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
it is your whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like to drive home the fact that we are just the guys that make it happen. Like
Yeah.
we don't want the credit. We have a little logo on the back label usually.
Mhm.
So when it's up on your shelf or you give it to your friends or whatever you want on there, if you want your dogs on there, your 2 dogs are right there sitting on the front of the label with their names on it, or your company's name or
Which is absolutely a real label we've done.
yeah.
I was gonna
A
ask
real
that.
label. Yeah,
Where's
I
this example
just
coming
did it.
from?
Yeah.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
Did somebody do that?
It's a little
Yeah.
too specific, huh?
Oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
listeners can find more information on the Foundry on their website, which we're going to have linked in the description of the podcast, the post we put with it. Or if you're in Iowa, stop by.
Yes, stop by the Foundry.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, if you're in Iowa, we're like 10 minutes from the Des Moines airport. So
Yeah.
if you got a layover that's more than like 3 or 4 hours, dip out, come over, jump right back. We're pretty close if you're even just driving through.
Mm-hmm.
Get a hotel. We're right here. You're gonna have fun. We're
Yes.
friendly. We're friendly faces. So
And it's a neat area too. There's a lot to offer
Yeah.
in this area. Did you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, our samples are gone. Going once, going twice.
Sold.